Success Formula with me, Lucy Parsons. Welcome to today's show. What we're talking about today is how to get the most out of academic coaching. Now, I wanted to share these lessons with you now because they're things that I've learned over the last 6 years. They're things that have come up with the clients who are working with my team of coaches now. And we've also seen quite a lot of people signing up to work with us over the summer, and it's normal for us to get even more people wanting to work with us as we begin the new school year. Before we dive into the information today, I also wanted to let you know that if you're somebody who's been thinking about working with us for a while but just haven't made that first step or aren't quite sure whether the time is right, we're having an open house session on the 17th of August at 7 p.m. And this is your chance to come along and listen to all the different ways that you can work with us, ask your questions, and basically fully understand which way of working with us is right for you, or whether it's not quite right at this time and it's better to wait a while until you're in the right situation to start working with us. So we want you to go away from the session with clarity about whether we're the right people to help you and whether it's the right time for us to help you. If you'd like to sign up for that, please go to lifemoreextraordinary.com/open house, and I will be absolutely delighted to see you there. Okay, let's get on with today's show. Maybe you've been thinking about signing up for one-to-one academic coaching with some of my coaching team for a while. It's really important to all of us that you get the most out of this experience, and making sure that this happens starts before you even sign up for a preliminary call to discuss how we can help you. In today's podcast, you'll find some helpful pointers about how to get the most out of academic coaching. This will also help you to decide if you're really ready to make contact with us to discuss coaching. And if you are ready, it will ensure that you get the most from the coaching relationship from the very beginning. Now, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, I'm not sure what academic coaching is, I've dealt with that in previous blog posts and podcast episodes, and you can find all of those if you visit lifemoreextraordinary.com/academic coaching. Okay, so how do you get the most out of academic coaching? Well, firstly and most importantly, you need to be a willing participant. This might sound like a strange thing to start with, but we've had several parents sign their children up for academic coaching when their children haven't been willing participants. This led to a very difficult client-coach relationship, and it wasn't nearly as productive as it could have been. The first aim of all our coaches is to form a relationship with your child where your child feels like they can be open and honest and they can trust their coach. However, some students resist this because they just don't want to be there. You don't want this to happen if you invest in academic coaching. So, if you're thinking about signing your child up for academic coaching, the very first step is talking to your young person about it. They don't need to commit to it immediately, they just need to be willing to explore it. However, be aware that some young people say they'll take part in the coaching calls but have no intention of following through on what is discussed. You need to make sure your young person is willing to not just turn up, but be a full and willing participant in every aspect of the process. And this means following through on what's discussed in the coaching calls in a willing and curious and happy way. If your child wishes to talk to your coach before you go ahead with the coaching, we can arrange a quick 10-minute call so that they can meet their coach and feel comfortable that this is going to be a positive relationship for them. We also have podcast interviews with all the coaches so that you can get to know them before signing up. And if you'd like to find all those interviews, you can go to lifemoreextraordinary.com/academic coaching. Okay, so the first step is being a willing participant, but the second step, once you're there on the call, is being open and honest. The best way to get a lot out of the coaching relationship quickly is to be open and honest about the things you're finding difficult in your studies, as well as the things that are getting in the way of your progress. The more open and honest your child can be about their thoughts and feelings about their studies and the situation around them, the better their coach will be able to help them. Your coach will do their best to make you feel comfortable. However, we often find that students only really open up during their fourth coaching call. And this means that often the first 3 coaching calls have effectively just been about building a relationship. And, we can't really help people in a really deep and meaningful way until they get really open with us about really what's getting in the way, what those thoughts are that they're having in their heads that they're almost embarrassed or ashamed to share. And it's only when we kind of start surmounting those hurdles that we start seeing real progress. So you can imagine that if students come along to their first coaching call willing to share openly, their coach can help them make more progress with their studies much faster. The worst thing that students can do is to fob their coaches off, saying that they've done things when they haven't. And sometimes we do have to act like a bad cop and do a bit of detective work sometimes to make sure that students are telling us the truth. And we can usually, we've got that teacher's sixth sense when a student is, trying to pull the wool over our eyes. And it's not good for anybody when that happens. And, what I would say is that it really is virtually impossible to help students when they're effectively telling us lies about their progress and achievements. I can remember being on coaching calls in the early days, and students would come on and give me just loads of good news about marks and how much work they're doing and how well they're getting on with their work and all that kind of thing. And the parents would come on the call at the end and say, that's not the picture that I'm seeing. So, you can't really give students help if they're not telling you what the problems and the issues are. So it's really important that they are willing to do that. And if you're a student listening to this, then please bear this in mind. We are here to help. That's what we want to do. That's what we love to do. And if you tell us really the truth and what you're finding difficult, then we can help you to overcome that. If you don't tell us the truth, it's just it's not even really a terribly pleasant conversation, because there's the underlying current of mistrust that goes with not telling the truth. Okay, the next thing to make academic coaching successful is to try the things that your coach suggests. So if you're struggling with aspects of your studies, and most students do, even the ones getting the top grades, I remember struggling with my studies, and I'd have loved to have people to talk it all through with, your coach will make suggestions about how you can move forward. Sometimes these suggestions will make perfect sense and they'll work for you. Other times you might be more sceptical. If you're convinced a suggestion won't work for you, let your coach know during the call so that they can help you to come up with another solution. So if you're saying, I'm just really overwhelmed with everything that I've got to do, and the coach says, right, let's deal with it in this way, and you're like, oh no, that doesn't really work for me, you know, the coach can then try to understand why it doesn't work for you and help you to come up with different ways of dealing with that sense of overwhelm. But if you are just like, oh yeah, I'll give that a go, with absolutely no intention of using that method, then, you know, you basically wasted a coaching session and probably a week before your next coaching session, before we can come up with a productive solution. And what we want more than anything is to help you. So, you know, you're not being polite by just kind of going along with it because it's something that somebody suggested. You're wasting valuable time, and we are on your side and we want to help you make good progress. The other thing you can do if you're like, I'm not sure about that solution, is you can go away and give it a go and come back to the next coaching session and say, you know, this worked, this aspect of it worked and this aspect of it didn't work, and try to explain to the coach why it didn't work for you, so that they can get a better understanding of how you do and don't work, so that they can help you better as your relationship develops. So the core of this is, you know, being open-minded, giving things a go, and being open and honest. Respectful, but open and honest, because that's the best way to have a productive relationship. Okay, the next thing you can do to make academic coaching a success is to use the resources in the Extraordinaries Club. So all our one-to-one coaching clients get full access to the Extraordinaries Club, which is my online hub where we have the study skills modules that teach people how to study, and the how to revise masterclasses, and we have weekly coaching calls during term time and various other bits and pieces to support people. So we give one-to-one coaching clients access to all this because while one-to-one coaching can help you make progress a lot faster than working through the materials in the club, because we're able to address the things getting in your way a lot faster when we know you one-to-one, no coach can know the details of how to revise every GCSE and A-level subject. So the resources one-to-one clients will find most useful in the club are the how to revise masterclasses. Each of these has been put together by a subject expert. Nearly all of them are experienced examiners, and guide students through the most productive and effective approach to revision for that subject at that level. Students will make massive progress if they use the advice they're given during their one-to-one calls, combined with watching the how to revise masterclasses for the subjects that they're doing at GCSE or A-level. Of course, students are welcome to explore all the other resources in the club as well, all of which will support the work that you're doing with your coach one-to-one. And, you know, your coach might explain things slightly differently to the way they're explained in the videos. And sometimes all we need to really get a concept is to have it explained in a different way, or to kind of come at it from a different point of view. And that's what helps us make the breakthrough. So it's a really, really good idea to make full use of the resources inside the club. Now, the next thing you can do to get the most out of academic coaching is to remove distractions before coming on a call. This isn't only a productive and successful thing to do, it's also a polite thing to do. So make sure you leave your phone outside the room and shut other browser windows on the computer. We occasionally get people joining coaching calls using the Zoom app on their phone while they're on the move, like they're in the car on the way to a training session or, you know, ballet practice or something like that. This is not at all satisfactory, and when it does happen, we have to say to people, look, this is not going to work. We need to find a different time to talk to you, because we can't have the kind of conversation that we need to have, carefully considered conversation, while you're sitting in the car with your mum beside you, the traffic going on around you, probably a not very reliable connection and all that kind of thing. So to make the most out of a coaching call, you basically need to be in a quiet place and to be calm and focused. So do bear that in mind when you're scheduling calls. And if you do have a scheduling conflict, like the coaching call scheduled at a time that you have something else, get in touch with your coach. We do ask for 24 hours notice if you want to cancel or reschedule a call. But the best thing, as always, is to be open and honest and say, this is the situation, and your coach will do their best to work around it within the constraints of working with all their other clients. Okay, the next thing you can do to make academic coaching really successful is to come to the call with questions. Students who come to coaching calls ready with questions or issues they'd like to help to resolve will get the most out of the experience. So before logging on, think about things like, what have you struggled with this week? What gets in your way of focusing on your work? What are you stressed about at the moment? What's coming up that you'd like to talk through? So things like, you might know that there's a coursework deadline coming up, or you've got a lot of tests coming up in a week, in about 3 weeks' time, or something like that. And you want to talk through how to manage the workload to make sure that you're okay, you're not overworking, but you're also doing your best in all those situations. So at the beginning of a coaching call, let your coach know if you have anything you'd particularly like to discuss, and they will make it a priority to help you with the things that you're struggling with or could cause you stress or difficulty in the future. Okay, the last thing that you can do is to get the most out of academic coaching is to understand the relationship. So in the past, we've had a few clients sign up for one-to-one coaching thinking they were outsourcing some of their parenting responsibilities to us. That's not what this relationship is. Instead, your academic coach is a neutral, non-judgmental study skills expert who is supporting your family to find the best way possible to succeed together in the exam years. The families who see their relationship with their academic coach as a triangular, supportive relationship get the most out of it. As a parent, we suggest you do the following things while your child is working with an academic coach. So firstly, read the summary emails after each coaching call and talk to your child about the session. Secondly, complete the parent modules inside the Extraordinaries Club, as they will give you additional help on how to support your child to achieve their best. Thirdly, get in touch by email if you have questions, worries or concerns, so that we can arrange a time to talk outside your child's coaching session. Fourthly, respond promptly to communication from your child's coach. And finally, support your child to come to their coaching calls on time with a calm and focused attitude. Now, if you do all those things, then it really will be a productive and respectful relationship with the coach that will really help your child to move forwards. Okay, all the things that I've talked about today are contained in what we call our client-coach agreement. So if you do decide to work with us for academic coaching, there are two things that we ask you to do before the coaching begins. The first is to make your payment, and the second is for both the parent and the student to sign the client-coach agreement. And the client-coach agreement covers many of the things that we've talked about today. It's not a legal agreement, but it's a way of making sure everyone involved is fully signed up to a productive and respectful way of working together. We do find, though, that some students, even when they've signed the client-coach agreement, don't fully abide by it. for example, they don't turn up to coaching sessions that have been scheduled, or they aren't open and honest with their coach. Therefore, if you sign up for coaching, please take the time to read it properly and think about what it means in practice, as working within the spirit of it will enable you to get the most out of academic coaching. And if you're interested, I've put a copy of the client coach agreement in the blog post that goes with this episode, and you can find that at lifemoreextraordinary.com/most, and you can just click on there and you'll be able to get a download of the client coach agreement so you can see what's involved. I think to really sum up what I've said today, you get out what you put in, and that goes for all things in life, not just academic coaching. If a young person comes along to all their sessions with an open mind, wanting to be helped and willing to take on advice and support, they will get on much better than someone who's just showing up because their parents told them to, and they have no intention of doing anything except sitting through the call. As professionals, we will always do our utmost to build a relationship with your child, draw them out and help them to see that we're on their side. But if they've closed their minds before they start, it can be a painful and unproductive process for everyone. So hopefully I've given you some useful information today about how to make academic coaching work for you and how to make it a really productive and successful relationship and ultimately help your child reach their academic potential. If you're ready after listening to this to sign up or to explore academic coaching further, you can find out more about it if you go to lifemoreextraordinary.com/study-skills-coaching. On that page, you can book a call with Helen, who is the lead coach on the team, and she will discuss with you whether we're the right people to help your child with the issues they're facing. And if you're not sure whether one-to-one academic coaching or standard membership of the Extraordinaries Club is for you, come along to our open house event that I mentioned at the beginning, which is on Tuesday the 17th of August, to understand all the different ways you can work with us and which is the right one for you. You can go to lifemoreextraordinary.com/open house to sign up for the open house event. Well, I really hope today's episode has been helpful for you if you have been considering signing up for academic coaching. All it remains for me to say today is thank you so much for listening, have a wonderful day, and goodbye.